Section 700 Underground Residential Distribution URD Service. 701 General. This type of service is designed for residential subdivisions where all utilities are installed underground. An underground residential distribution URD, service lateral installed underground in conduit from a CPS energy transformer or secondary enclosure to meter loop on customer building or structure supplies service. Customer shall request this type of service either through the CPS Energy web portal or by calling 210-353-4050 701 Final grades provided by customer. Customer is responsible for providing finished grades before CPS Energy installs transformers and trenches for primary voltage ducts and secondary laterals. In cases where the final grades are changed after CPS Energy has begun the installation of the infrastructure, the redesign and construction charges associated with the changes will be the customer's responsibility. Customer shall identify all property lines as required by CPS Energy. 701 2 Easements for underground facilities. CPS Energy facilities including primary distribution, transformers, and pads, secondary laterals, and secondary enclosures will be installed in easements as determined by the CPS Energy Customer Service Representative. CPS Energy facilities may also be installed in alleys, streets, or other public right-of-way. Note: CPS Energy will not permit temporary or permanent structures to be placed in a manner that will obstruct CPS Energy access for maintenance or repair of CPS Energy facilities, even if they are not located in an easement. A. Restricted use of easements. Customer shall not permit any structure, such as storage buildings, swimming pools, spas, decks, patios, carports, garages, concrete walks, and drives or equipment to be temporarily or permanently positioned over electric and/or gas lines or in their easements. Note: while easements are not required for routing of URD service laterals and conduits, CPS Energy will not permit temporary or permanent structures to be placed in a manner that will obstruct CPS Energy access for maintenance or repair to service laterals and conduits. B. Call before digging. Texas law requires anyone, including homeowners, who plan to excavate to notify 1-800-DIG-TESS or 811 call for location of underground facilities at least 2 working days in advance so that the utilities lines can be located and marked for safety. Helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. 701 3 CPS Energy facilities and maintenance. CPS Energy will own, operate, and maintain transformer installations, primary and secondary cables, conduits, secondary enclosures, service laterals, and kilowatt-hour meters. CPS Energy may perform maintenance as required to meter sockets. 701 4 Commercial service from URD area. Services to commercial businesses are generally not allowed from URD system. Where there are no other distribution facilities available, CPS Energy may allow a commercial service from the URD distribution system upon approval from CPS Energy's engineering department. 702 Standard installation, refer to Figure 701. A standard URD system installation will typically consist of the basic equipment and steps listed in 1 through 4 below. Customer shall review the referenced articles for more specific information and requirements. 1. Primary voltage cables in conduit furnished and installed by CPS Energy. Exception: with prior CPS Energy approval, customer may elect to use contractors to trench and install conduits. The contractor shall coordinate with the CPS Energy customer service representative to have all necessary inspections before covering or pouring. Refer to helpful numbers on back of front cover page. 2. Pad mount single-phase transformers and associated pads, transformers and pads to be furnished and installed by CPS Energy. Only single-phase, 3-wire, 120/240 volt service will be supplied for URD installations. Refer to Article 703. Exception: with prior CPS Energy approval, customer may elect to construct transformer pads. Customer shall coordinate with the CPS Energy customer service representative to have all necessary inspections before covering or pouring, refer to helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. 3. Service laterals in conduits furnished and installed by CPS Energy. The service lateral typically is installed from pad mount transformers terminals or from secondary enclosure directly to the meter socket on the building or structure, refer to Articles 704 and 705. Exception. With prior CPS Energy approval, customer may elect to use contractors to install trenching and conduits. The contractor shall coordinate with the CPS Energy customer service representative to have all necessary inspections before covering or pouring, refer to helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. Note: where overhead lines are installed along a property that is located in a URD system, service laterals may be supplied from distribution poles. 4. CPS Energy approved single-phase, self-contained, residential meter sockets to be furnished and installed by customer at locations approved by CPS Energy, refer to Article 707. 703 Transformers. CPS Energy will determine the number and location of pad mount transformers that will be installed in a URD system. Customer shall furnish space meeting all clearance and easement requirements for each transformer and shall allow it to be readily accessible. 703 1 Transformer pads. Pads for single-phase transformers up to 167 kVA shall be precast concrete and shall be furnished by CPS Energy. In special cases approved by CPS Energy where larger transformers are needed, transformer slabs will need to be constructed in accordance with CPS Energy specifications. Customer shall coordinate with the CPS Energy customer service representative for more information. 1. No transformers, cable, or other CPS Energy facilities will be installed in rear or side lot locations unless the grade of the property is 10% or less and a drivable surface is installed to access transformers. All transformer pad sites are to be leveled by the developer. 2. No transformers, cable, or other CPS Energy facilities will be installed in areas that are prone to flooding. Any conduits installed across an earthen drain must be encased in 1500 psi concrete. 703 2 Secondary laterals and enclosures. Depending on the load and locations to be served, CPS Energy may furnish and install secondary laterals and secondary enclosures between the secondary side of the transformer and the meter socket. Conduits and trenching will be in accordance with the requirements outlined for service lateral conduits and conductors, refer to Articles 704 and 705. 704 Service lateral conduits. Service laterals shall be totally enclosed in conduits. All conduits, elbows, and couplings shall be furnished and installed by CPS Energy from transformer or secondary enclosure to meter loop. The conduit system shall be continuous except for watertight couplings, refer to Figure 701. 704 1 Approved types of conduits. Standard service lateral conduits shall be Schedule 40 PVC with all elbows required to be Schedule 80 PVC. Where there is possibility of physical damage to service lateral conduits, Schedule 80 PVC shall be installed for the entire conduit system. 704 2 Size of conduits. The size of service lateral conduits to residential buildings shall be as specified for the job by the CPS Energy customer service representative and will be based on length, number of bends, and the type and number of conductors that CPS Energy will install. Typically, all conduits from pad mount transformers to single position meter sockets shall be 3 inches unless otherwise specified by CPS Energy. Elbows at transformer end shall have a minimum radius of 30 inches and elbow at meter loop shall have a radius of 24 inches.